It is January 13th, 2012. The world still hasn't exploded.
That's not happen until December 21st anyway.
I don't care. I am ChazDragoon.
And I'm the Betaflex of 1.
Kitty is in the call, but currently BRB. This is Mr. Chaz Theater, episode 9. Yeah, episode 9.
Yeah, I think you're on 9. The last one was, what was it again?
Bad reviews.
Oh yeah, the guy that went, wow.
Wow. No, those don't count towards the counter.
I actually never checked the counter.
I think it went up to 19, I believe.
Wow.
Wow. But that is not our topic today. Our topic, if for the people who are clearly looking at our screen right now, you are looking at a slightly perturbed Jon Stewart with the image of Ron Paul to the left. I will be straight up honest, I don't know a whole lot about Ron Paul, other than that he is completely ignored and vastly popular with everyone in the freaking internet that I can tell.
I can tell you more of that one, but you keep going.
Yeah. So, anyways, I've noticed a strange parallel here involving the mainstream media. Mainstream media, in case you're not familiar with this term, is would be ABC, NBC, MSNBC, faux news. I'm not going to call them Fox News because it ain't true. They're faux news.
What?
All the big major news companies. I'm not terribly certain about CNN because I saw some clips of them actually mentioning Ron Paul in the limelight, and I think have they mentioned SOPA?
I don't think they
no,
I don't think
so.
mainstream's ever even touched SOPA from what I've heard.
Well,
I know they tried to ignore Ron Paul, but they always keep getting backlash.
Anyways, but we have noticed a bit of a trend here, and it's kind of annoying. First off is everyone knows about SOPA, so I don't need to really reiterate what the fuck that thing is. But the entire internet knows about it. Every big major internet company that opposes this damn thing knows about it. The people who are for SOPA know about this thing. Everyone and their goddamn dog knows about SOPA. And yet, NBC, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, everyone in the fucking cable channel, network, TV, news, whatever the fuck you want to call it, all of the major news networks don't say a fucking thing about it. Why? Oh, I know why. Because they're under the parentship of fucking Viacom and God knows what else who supports the bill.
Mainstream media has always been puppets to the set. I use the term establishment to describe all the rich and powerful fucks up there within the American and European regions. Whole different story of its own, but basically the media is just being little puppets for the people, for the ultra rich and powerful and all that crap. Because they don't want us to know things that we need to know. The goal of the mainstream media is to make sure we don't know what we need to know, and that we only know what they want us to know.
It's very sad. I mean, I used to watch the news a lot, because it's like, it's the news. It's telling us about the world and this and that, and it's the fucking news. You wouldn't think to yourself the news is rigged in some sort of way, and yet it's so plainly it is so plainly obvious right now that
Chaz?
Yeah, I see it. That it is so fucking rigged right now, because they are not just ignoring SOPA, but they are also ignoring a real life person who is running for the presidency, who is doing well. And you will see this very soon as I play the video that's before you. Kitty has finally come back to the call and has given me some
There are links. Apparently, the links do show CNN and CBS News giving some sort of hint to SOPA, but again, when we say mainstream, not many people will go on CNN or ABC News or shit like that. When we mean mainstream, it's always the freaking boob tube, the freaking TV.
Well,
Because that's what a lot of people watch since they don't like reading.
CBS isn't just a cable news network. It's fucking CBS. You know, they're CBS is kind of huge. It's pretty huge. I mean, they were around before CNN, I believe. I mean, they were pretty much the big three back then before cable television started exploding. There was NBC, there was ABC, and then there was CBS. Channels 3, 8, and 13 over on my end. And
well, that's the thing. That's the thing. A lot of these big networks, they all carry an agenda, whichever way you spin it, and it's usually, and the agenda has always been to basically just, well, for presidential nominations, it's always they want you to vote for just one person, and they show it too.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, they actually changed up a bit because CNN admitted. I wish I could draw the article up for you, but I'm sure if you Google it, CNN admitted that they were intentionally ignoring Ron Paul.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous how they ignore him too, and even they make it so obvious that they're ignoring him. Again, you'll see in the clips as soon as I start the video. But it's like I really got nothing to say. Jon Stewart kind of fucking does it for me here. So without further ado, we will go into the 4 minutes and 27 seconds of Jon Stewart awesomeness, and then afterwards we will go from there. So let's bust out the popcorn and watch. As soon as some sound comes out.
So now with Pawlenty dropping out, Rick Perry dropping in, and Michelle Bachmann and Ron Paul dominating the Ames straw poll, we got ourselves a race.
We have a top tier. It is Mitt Romney, Rick Perry, and Michelle Bachmann.
We have a new top tier, and it's Perry, Mitt Romney, and Bachmann.
There's now a top tier in this race, at least for now, of Romney, Perry, and Bachmann.
I mean, I think that's fair to say. Really fair to say? You're not forgetting, I don't know, anyone, say an ideologically consistent 12-term congressman who came within less than 200 votes of winning the straw poll? Isn't anyone going to give that gentleman a little love?
There's a top tier now of Bachmann and Perry and Romney, and, you know, we haven't mentioned, and we should.
Thank you.
We haven't mentioned, and we should, Rick Santorum, who did really surprisingly well for the amount of money and resources he had.
Rick Santorum? He didn't get half of what Ron Paul got. He lost to the guy who lost so bad he dropped out of the race. Santorum?
We're looking at Mitt Romney, who continues to be the front runner, but we have Rick Perry as well, and now Michelle Bachmann. Let's not count out John Huntsman, though.
What? John Huntsman? Huntsman got 69 votes.
Dreamer!
If all of John Huntsman's supporters met at the same Ames, Iowa Quiznos, the fire marshal would say, yeah, that's fine, no problem. There's still some tables open in the back. Huntsman was the only Mormon running in the straw poll, and he came in second amongst Mormons. And by the way, this pretending Ron Paul doesn't exist for some reason has been going on for weeks.
A new Gallup survey showing Rick Perry running second to Mitt Romney, knocking down Iowa favorite Michelle Bachmann to fourth.
Behind who? Fourth behind who? How did Libertarian Ron Paul become the 13th floor in a hotel? Why? What's wrong with, he is Tea Party patient zero. All that small government grassroots business, he planted that grass. These other folks, they're just moral majorities in a tri-cornered hat. Ron Paul's the real deal, and Fox News should love this guy. But watch the disconnect between the debate moderators at Fox's Thursday debate and the debate audience.
Iran does not have an air force that can come here, just like we did in Iraq. Build up the war propaganda. There was no Al-Qaeda in Iraq, and they had nuclear weapons, and we had to go in. I'm sure you supported that war as well. Yeah. Okay. It's time we quit this. It's time. It's trillions of dollars we're spending on these wars.
What's with the smirk and the eye roll? The guy gives it, the crowd goes nuts, and you do one of these. There goes crazy Uncle Ron, babbling about the unsustainability of multiple wars. He's the one guy in the field, agree with him or don't agree with him, who doesn't go out of his way to regurgitate talking points or change what he believes to fit the audience he's in front of. And you're treating him like if this were Celebrity Apprentice, he'd be this guy. By the way, at the Ames, Iowa straw poll, Busey beat Huntsman 77-69. Even when the media does remember Ron Paul, it's only to reassure themselves how there's no need to remember Ron Paul.
Right now, live, right next to the bus behind us, Ron Paul is speaking, and 7 of the candidates are here today. We have live pictures of Ron Paul, but you know what? We're talking about Sarah Palin, and we're talking about Rick Perry, the 2 people not in the race yet, Drew.
And guess what, Paul? If you get video of Sarah Palin or get a soundbite from her, bring that back to us. You can hold the Ron Paul stuff.
Yep.
Just further proof, as I said, that they're trying to intentionally ignore and write off Ron Paul. And if people want to know why, put it this way, Ron Paul's pretty much the only Republican candidate right now that is not for more wars. He's actually against all the wars. He's for the United States to just mind its own damn business.
Say an ideologically...
Sorry.
That's right. And for domestic policy, he's about cutting the excess spend. About legitimately cutting the excess spending, especially well, I'm trying to remember what. He does have a plan though that will cut $1 trillion without bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Because he sees the excess in spending, he sees the excess with regulations and all that crap.
Basically, he's seeing all the bullshit that our government's doing, and he's like, "Yeah, this needs to stop."
That's why he's being ignored by mainstream media, is because of the fact that he represents no more. He legitimately represents no more war, no more excess spending, no more unnecessary bureaucracy and regulation. He's about less war. He's about less war, and getting the government out of people's business.
Sounds good to me. Well.